So why don't we just warm things up? And Versana, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm down on the Gulf Coast of Louisiana, and I teach at Beatwood Woodrow Middle School. We have sixth through eighth graders on our campus. My J program is an aim high program. And so I have a percentage of my students that have IEPs. And our hope for them is giving them some tools to carry in the high school and have their minds on building themselves a career so that they'll have more opportunities and be better prepared for the working world when they leave us.
You mentioned in middle school that you're talking about careers with them. Why is that? And what kind of effect do you see on the students from having those conversations early?
When the school year first started, especially my sixth graders, and I explained to them this program is Jobs for America's Graduates. And they were like, Miss B, we haven't even made it over to the high school side. Right now, we're working on a career web quest. And as they're going through sessions, I'm hearing the discussions. Oh no, I don't want that job. Did you really? They only get to make X amount per year, and it started generating in them what will I need. I don't remember the career, but the student said, "Do you really have to go to college like 6 or 8 years field?" And even the classes they need in school to prepare for life outside of high school. So it's exciting for me because they're getting an opportunity I didn't get. I mean, a possibility before high school. So I think I probably would have made some different choices if somebody had shown me a path.
So, what part of educating children fuels your passion for being a teacher?
We have seen so many young people out in our world that are really struggling to get like a grip on life, and all of the things that they come back and they tell me, this is my 27-year teaching. So I've got kids that have left me that they have a family now. And it's Miss B, you remember when you kept trying to tell me this and I know it's making up for it, and it brings me joy to be a part of that.
I'll ask a question about Skillsline. So, how does Skillsline fit into what you do today?
Skillsline is an absolute perfect fit for what I'm doing today. Unfortunately, if you look at some TikTok videos or Facebook videos, out in the world, there's a glamorization of not being a kind person and not understanding somebody else's differences, or even knowing how to put a name to an emotion that I'm feeling for children. So Skillsline is coming in saying, hey, look, you're going to feel this way some days, and this is how you manage it. You're going to run across people that don't believe the same things you believe. And these are some strategies you can use to better communicate with them. And especially that being a team player part. Unfortunately, there's not time in classroom teachers' day to take that time talking about what it means to be a good team player. Skillsline is giving me that opportunity to put those tools in the kids' toolboxes.
Can you talk a little bit about how you taught human skills before and now maybe what's different?
Human skills before were more what we call sit and get. This is a skill that I'm teaching you, and you're going to sit here and listen to it, and then we're going to move on to the next one. Skillsline is actually stopping and asking the student, is there something you're remembering from a lesson before that you can connect to this lesson? How do you usually handle this thing, whatever that topic is. This is getting the kids to look inside a lot more than just sitting and getting.
Do they use it outside of the classroom? Do they have stories to tell? Do you hear them talking about things?
Yes, I do. There was the lesson about not losing your cool. That's not how the lesson was worded, but that's what the kids got out of it, not losing your cool. And so in the hall, I heard one of my kids telling another kid, see, that's why you need to be a JAG. Because if you in JAG, you know how to handle this.
What about reframing self-limiting beliefs and things like that? Do they take those sort of mental well-being concepts and use them in their everyday life?
They definitely use that because they not heard that expression before about I am self-limiting myself, not even what expectation you bringing to me. I'm limiting my thinking. And so that was like, you could see those light bulbs flashing because they can't tell all these negative things.
One of the things that folks are really interested in is how do you fit Skillsline into your day? Can you talk to us about how you use Skillsline in your classroom?
I use it as my bell ringer. So when the kids first enter class, we do a skills line session. And then from there, we'll go into whatever lesson we're working on for the day. And what we do, set a timer because the discussions in between the slides can really go off into a lot of things. But I try to stay within a 12-minute frame so we could fit in our other work. And the kids are down to a science now where the timer hadn't even gone off yet, and we've made it to the last slide. And they're proud about that.
Actually, learning time management through doing the lesson. Can you talk to us a little bit about what skills students learn by actually going through a Skillsline lesson?
And we do it as a whole group session. And so they are better managing being able to give each other a turn to talk. And they're also getting better at defending an answer because there's all of the ones that have it could be all of the above. And so they are sharpening their skills on I do vote that is got to be letter C. And it can't be all of the above because look at what it is. And they're able to carry that because I know you're very familiar with everything is teaching to the test. And so on that standardized testing, they have to defend why did you choose this answer? So it's like, yes,
I'm just curious, what do you think from your what makes a great teacher?
we had an experience, you and I, earlier when we tried to start our session and the equipment wasn't working right. And I
Yeah.
had a group in here with me during that time. And so they could hear you. So you asked me, while I'm still trying to get this, just tell me about your day. And so when we got off of it, one of the students said, Miss V, he was trying to maintain himself. I could hear it in his voice. Equipment not working right. And you saying, hey, look, today's Friday. Where he gonna stay at a beer when you just trying to keep
It's so true.
that? Chris, I dropped myself out of bed this morning. But before I told you that, did you know?
Not at all. You got to put on the game face. Yeah.
Yes. And I tell you, it's not even about faking your weight. I was bound and determined today is Fantastic Friday, and I'm claiming that. And going back to my mindset, I had to flip that mindset and reframe myself. And as teachers, you got to do a lot of that.
Tell me about how you think about preparing your students for the future.
I know in my group, we away from Skillsline, we do a lot of scenarios. So one of my lessons was you're answering the telephone at the company. And maybe you're not even the receptionist, but you're the one that was closest to the phone. So in the scenario, you had an angry customer when you picked up the line. And there was like a little script about what the angry customer said. And I hear kids, oh Lord, that sound like they were listening to my mama. I recognize that our kids' examples are not the best out in the world. But as a teacher, I'm just trying to show them there's always a different kind of way we can present. I can still call your company and be upset because my equipment is not working. But there's a way to say,
That's right. Getting to the outcome, like what are you trying to accomplish, I think is a big part of that too. Like it doesn't help you to get, do they think about those sorts of things? Emotional regulation, it doesn't necessarily help you get to the outcome you're looking for, right? Get
"Oh," and
mad.
that's why I just keep wanting you to know because you're not in the classroom, that the things that your company is putting together for teaching the skills is like more valuable than gold because kids need somebody to show them. And this is just such an organized way of showing. I love when we get to a later lesson and there's that sentence in there. When we talked about this in lesson whatever, and they're like, oh, okay. Remember that?
That's pretty cool to hear that they're now. Do you do things in order or do you jump around? Or tell me how you decide the lessons that you're interested.
At first, I was jumping around because I looked at the activities and I was saying, oh, this would be a good fit for what we're talking about this week. But then after I started understanding it better, going back to first and working our way, it is helping the kids understand better. Because something that went on in Pack 1 is helping you build some foundation for discussion in Pack 2. And for your wheelhouse, just thinking about my kids that do have an IEP, they that even though the scaffolding is light, it really is some scaffolding for them. You
Yeah.
some things to them that they never considered before.
How skills like help you personally with these human skills, and how could teachers and school climate benefit from that, like school culture as a professional development program for teachers? What are your thoughts on that?
Even the lessons about having a fixed mindset, because we're in the job, there are spaces where you're reflecting on yourself. And so the same reflections that we're getting kids to do going through the activities, it's beneficial for us to sit and do that reflecting. Like I could see Skillsline even being used as a part of job training for social workers and those kinds of things that happen in our world.
How did you get up and running? How long did it take? Was it easy? Was it hard? And if you say it's hard or easy, why? Could you just tell us about how do I fit this in? What was your experience?
Skillsline is easy to implement. And the harder part was the very beginning, understanding where to go to open activities. But once you came back to us with some little snippets, we were able to grasp that. But I love the ease of it. You open up that session and the kid of the day can go and do next. They wanted be in, so it's very easy to implement. And then the icing on the cake was the chart aligning our competencies. If you've worked on this skills line activity, then you've hit this competency for JAG and this competency. Like we can't beat that.
Oh, no. Much do you as a teacher need to prepare for each skills line lesson? Be interested to hear that.
I do use the skills handouts that we receive, but my joy is that I really don't prepare. So I don't even remember what the question was. The kids usually ask me, "How are you going to vote on this answer?" And so I voted with them, and that was not the correct answer for that question. And that gives them another sense because then I looked at them and said, let's look and see why it wasn't our answer. And so if I had done the lesson before them, they wouldn't have been able to get that little moment with me.
It makes you real, doesn't it? We're all humans in this. If you were to name skills that were the most important for students to have today, what would those skills be? I'm just interested in hearing where you're focusing your time on skill development and what skills you want to develop in your.
On responsibility and being respectful. That's like my biggies right out of the gate because the kids have not grasped that part of you are accountable for your actions and you're accountable for things that have been assigned to you. And your responsibility is to take care of your part. So light bulbs were going off this week because we've been talking a lot about being a member of a team. And as we've gone through the Skillsline lessons, there was a point in the lesson about you're on a team and you're responsible for your part. Now, don't get me wrong. All of these kids, school years, they've been hearing that. But it was something about the way that was presented in that skills line lesson. It made sense to them. I have a piece of them to bring to make our whole pie. They need my piece to look a certain way so that the whole pie will look a certain way. And now they're starting to grasp more why other team members get upset when it's time to put together and your piece is not ready and acceptable to go into the plate.
So the analogies, the illustrations, the stories really come through. What effect does this have on literacy? Is that something you could speak to, or what, have you thought about that?
It has a big effect on this part. Most often, our kids are not readers, so their vocabulary is not lowered. And Skillsline is bringing them some words that they're not familiar with. So there have been days when the question had a word in it that they didn't know, and we stopped, pulled out Merriam-Webster, and talked about that word. And so going back to your shuffling, in another lesson, they see that word and they're so proud. Oh, we know what they're talking about right here. And that's crucial for these kids.
In
Crucial.
what ways do you see Skillsline changing education or helping educators change?
I think that through an educator going through the lessons with the kids is helping an educator start reflecting while the kids are reflecting. And then for students, we have so much trouble with them understanding their emotions and understanding the way they think. And if they can get a grip on that, then everything else in the classroom is going to be a piece of cake.
How does Skillsline enhance project-based learning or support it?
It's supporting it with the kids' group discussions because in a project, they have to be able to communicate with each other. In fact, their skills line word is communication. The kids came up with, oh, we're about to do some communication.
That's great.
And the ability to manage your emotion and know how to talk to other people and understand when somebody's having a bad day. All of those are the soft parts of being able to complete the physical project.
I love that. Did Skillsline cause you to think about anything you do in the classroom or your role differently?
It did. especially when the kids started saying, nobody else asked me that before. Teaching is so cut and dry that you don't stop for a moment. Billy walks through the door, and you can see on his face that something upset him somewhere, but you're still going to jump right into that history lesson, right into that math problem. But by me going through the Skillsline lessons is letting me know now I need, after I get the kids started, let's go in and get Billy over to the corner and talk because nobody's giving him an opportunity to do his emotion. And when an emotion is all upset, you're not productive. So going
Yeah.
back to the work site, I got in the car, my gas was too low. I had to stop off. When I pulled, there was a traffic jam. I made it to the office. I pushed in late, and now the rest of my day is shot. My body's
Yes.
there, but
Right.
it's
Anything else, words of wisdom you would leave us with today? Like a question you wish I'd asked you.
I don't have a question I wish that you asked me, but I'm going to leave you with the words of some of my students. Miss V, there needs to be a way for every kid in this building to have that sense of skills line. People need that in their life.
Yeah, that'll I like that one. So thank you, thank you.
Don't stop what you're doing.